the power is yours. Not me, not God, you, the people.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
Well, hello, I'm the Frosty Critic and welcome back to another video. Today we will be breaking down episode 8 of Your Honor and talk about some theories for the next episode. Michael is the stubborn man in court 14 who insists on putting justice over everything. Those are the words of Sara, the Chief Justice, who had the Carlo Baxter case assigned to her courtroom until the police mysteriously pulled her over on DUI charges. Now that she's been quietly set aside, the case is back in front of Michael and she can take some comfort in his reputation for fairness, or can she? We will start with the breakdown and later in the video get into theories, so make sure to stick around until the end of the video and give this a thumbs up if you enjoy. Part 8 opens with Michael laying out his shoes, socks and watch in a tidy order, underlining a point that the show has made repeatedly before the hit and run: his reputation for doing things the right way. He may be friends with a guy like Charlie, but he is in every way a straight arrow, and so the ugly business of him protecting his son has completely messed up his conception of himself. With Kofi's murder and the murder of Kofi's family members, this has resulted in a lot of disasters for which he is responsible. This is a gut punch to the point where Michael returns to the judge's chambers after a witness testimony just to catch his breath. He simply will not get away with what he's attempting. To put it in Breaking Bad terms, his treatment of Kofi Jones was half measured. Rather than come clean to prevent this innocent young man from pleading guilty for his hit and run, his solution was to hire a grid lawyer. That did not work, and so the injustices have ballooned into an unimaginable scale, with several people dead and with Michael now in the position to deny justice for Kofi once again for good measure. He has to do it to save his own life and his son's life. Baxter has given him a deadline in the most literal sense of term. Turns out that tipping the scales of justice in the Carlo Baxter case is going to take a lot from Michael. Michael's first step is to make sure that it's done with limited inspection from the press and the public. Without mentioning the pandemic, he warns of an existential threat that might contaminate his courtroom. So as much as it pains him to discard the principle of transparency and accountability, he says he will only allow access to lawyers, court staff and family members. The second step for him is to frame the evidence so that the jury will have to act according to him. Those peers will need serious convincing because the opening statements and early witness testimony are pointing towards guilt. It cannot be denied that Carlo killed Kofi in his cell, and so his lawyer is arguing for self-defense under the logic that Kofi ran over his brother and was coming back for another Baxter, perhaps on behalf of his gang, but that argument is undercut by physical evidence states anything but self-defense, and by testimony from the victim that landed Carlo in prison in the first place, who talks about being assaulted. Even with his connections, Carlo could not get away from that verdict. For now, Michael is laying the groundwork by minimizing the gruesome nature of Kofi's death and targeting a jury who's already leaning towards conviction. He asks the jury to forget the call Jimmy Baxter made to his son before his arrest, which accidentally implicates him for providing Jimmy with that information. And he also keeps them from seeing the graphic photographs of Kofi's bashed in head. However, Fiona paints an effective picture in their minds. After getting a jury's note that indicates a guilty verdict, Michael quietly sets about discovering the identity and manipulates the data on her phone to make it seem like she's seeking information about the case outside the courtroom. That's enough to get her dismissed. Meanwhile, Adam is being dumb and pursuing a relationship with Rocco's sister while putting his secret relationship with his teacher on ice. Adam also slips into his father's courtroom during a particular gruesome piece of testimony, which further undermines Michael's effort to protect him. There's a lesson here perhaps about children growing into young adults before their parents come to terms with it. Michael has been shielding his son from accountability, and it's preventing Adam from squaring up to what he's done. At a dinner to celebrate his acceptance into NYU, Adam drops a bomb on his father. He doesn't want to go. He wants to take a gap year instead. Adam is guilty of half measures too, in that he's not coming clean about his actions, but he's not skipping town either. In keeping him safe, his father is also keeping him from growing up. The story has to be about the characters, whereas in a movie it can be about an issue. This series is all about issues. One is about a parent's willingness to do anything for their child, another is about corruption corruption in the legal system, but there's no character development, and a few characters that are likable at this point after the first episode. You're just to believe that this is going to be about a kid killed on a motorcycle and the other kid who was involved in the accident, but the victim became the gang member who was hired to steal the car in an accident, and the other focus is on the victim's brother. Adam is almost absent in many ways from the series now, and he's just kind of there to remind us his father is doing this for him. Even Michael's actions are poorly reasoned and minor to the story. Where's his parenting? His son says he's not interested in going to college. He has no talk with him, but rather immediately he reaches out to his young teacher who makes an appearance after being absent for at least 5 episodes. They did it to push their narrative, but it doesn't fit a likable character very well. It's a great premises, but the execution is so poor. My theory is that Adam is going to die in the end. I think his teacher will expose him for killing the kid in the hit and run due to maybe jealousy, and Michael will try to save his son, but maybe while trying to save him, he will die as well. What do you think about the show? Your thoughts and opinions for the upcoming episode? Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching.